Oh, hello? Well, there we go. I'm so sorry about that. Oh, I love technology. Oh, I love technology. I'll put that in the description. Just stick around to this. But let me say all of that again. Today, yeah, today we're and that's it's a book I had the pleasure of being a part of, on the DMs Guild in recent. So about a year ago, a video being sponsored by Monster Weaknesses on DM's Guild, and they loved my video so much that they allowed me to come on the recent expansion for Spelljammer. Um, I was able to write for them. Now, what Monster Weaknesses is that in the beginning, with Monsters and Wizards of the Coast, they put a lot of resistances in there, things that the monsters resisted, like fire, kind of things, but not many vulnerabilities. So it's not like Pokemon where there's a give and a take and everyone's kind of weak to something or strong against another thing. It's just the one side of things just are a little bit resistant to some things but aren't vulnerable to anything. And so in combat, you're really just looking for the one thing that you can't use, other than the couple things that maybe you should use, right? So saying like, okay, well, as long as we just don't use fire damage because they're resistant to fire damage, we're good. Instead, like, okay, well, what is the things that they're weak to? What can we outwardly go and investigate or uncover to give us the edge of the battle, right? Where we just fire damage. So it makes a new dynamic to combats and battle in general with D&D. So that's what we're going to do today. So, anyways, I had to say that twice. I'm sorry. You couldn't hear me for the longest time. I'm so bad about that. I don't know why my computer likes to switch out my audio every time that I do something different. It's a little frustrating, but hey, we're here. Must have been a recent update or something. Anyways, huge big shout out to my wonderful patrons. You make this possible. You make it fun to do this every week, and just one step closer every day to eventually doing this full time, which is my hope. So, Cleric being Scott Burns, our acolyte Francisco being Rose and Joseph. Our disciples is Christian Roberts, Ryan Ramirez, Christopher Byer, 95 miles per hour Tom Berry, Matt Clark, 8 civil servants, Peter Strawberry Sunday, Randall Graves, and Jessica Henry. Thank you so much for if you also want to support me in that way, you can find the link in the description to my Patreon. You can be involved with a lot of bonus content and help me with content creation on this side as well. So, well, that's not good either. Do I need to wait to do this until I can get this figured out? Hold on. Let's figure this out. So we go to. What about this? Is that a little better? Maybe that's a little bit better. I hope. I hope that's a little bit. Do I need to repeat it a third time? Do I need to repeat it a third time? Did you guys get all that? I know it was a little choppy, but did you guys get all that? It might take a minute for you to comment in, but anyways. Let's try to get started here. Okay, Nerdy Dalek, thank you. Nerdy Dalek, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Great. Well, welcome to the chat, Nerdy Dalek. I appreciate it. If you guys ever do have questions while we're doing things, just put question in all caps in the chat so I can pick it out real quick and we can answer your question. As always, Super Chat is always another option that you can pay for more time and or donate to the channel and support me that way as well. So, okay, we got basically none of it. Sorry, but it's working now. Oh, awesome. Okay, your audio's better. Still some skips. Goodness. I like the internet says that I am like loads good. Like I got good and some change. So, but hey, Jeremy Mac PN, great to have you. Tyler Williams, awesome. Thank you for being in here. Let's get started. Let's do it. Okay. So here's what the first one looked like. This was Monster Weaknesses #1. And this covered basically everything in the monster manual. It's for every monster manual creature down here at the bottom. And then they expanded, right? So once the Monster Weaknesses comes out, or once the Monster of the Multiverse came out, they came out with Monster Weaknesses of the Multiverse. And then the last one, when I came in and helped write for it, it's the Monster Weaknesses Spelljammer. So everything in the Spelljammer campaign setting. And it's everything for the creatures in the Spelljammer book that came out with Spelljammer. And so again, this is on DMsGuild. If you do want copies of any of these, the link is in the description. You can either get them separate or together in a bundle. But again, doing it kind of this for a little bit for my friends and a little bit for you guys as well. Okay, Christian, great, lot better. Choppy with context clues. Let me know what you need. Super pumped. I love these books. Good. Me too. Me too. I'll show you guys a couple. If you guys do find a monster that you guys like, oh hey, I want to see that one. Let me know. I can't show you everything obviously because it is there's a lot in here and I gotta leave some surprises, right? But here we go. So basically, each book is about 20 pages, and each covers each monster in each respective book. Because it is on the DMsGuild, they don't need to worry about the OGL or anything like that. So if we go look at the Beholder, right? Beholders, they're pretty great. They have their eye beams, they have a few resistances, but what are some things that would kind of put you on the winning side or put the edge in your favor in a fight against the Beholder? This is something that your characters could figure out through a variety of means, and it actually gives you, oh sorry, not 20 pages, 150, 60 pages of this. This is 60 pages. I think the other one was 20 pages. So anyways, so they have like combat weaknesses. They also have social weaknesses. Then there is how to find those weaknesses. So types of checks that you can do to find out the weaknesses that they have, or other research in what you can do on your downtime to find these things out. So kind of gives you how to implement in these games, which is great. So let's go to the Beholder. So number 10, right here. So Beholder. Each one gives you like 2 pretty good resistances, right? We don't want to overrule vulnerabilities. I'm sorry, weaknesses. We don't want to overrule the resistances. We still want to give them some leg up, right? But for a Beholder, you have 2 abilities that they have, Eye for an Eye and Groveling Blindsight. So Eye for an Eye, let's see if I can zoom in here so you can see a little bit better. You have Eye for an Eye. Says when a creature holding a reflective surface succeeds in a saving throw against one of the Beholder's eye rays, it can immediately use its reaction to redirect the eye ray, causing another creature within 60 feet of you to become the target instead. If a Beholder is hit with a reflected eye ray, it does not take the effects of the eye ray. Instead, the number of legendary actions it can take is reduced by 1 for 1d4 rounds, right? And here's the thing is like, this might be awesome for your table. And you're like, I want to take that and put it in right now. Or you could tweak it a little bit. And you're like, oh, well, I actually want the Beholder to take the effect of the eye ray. I think the stipulation why it's getting in here because it might be a one-hit wonder if they hit him with the stone turning, right? The, what is it called? Not paralyzing, it's the other condition, you turn to stone. Like, that could wipe out a Beholder in the first round, right? But any non-magical reflective surface used in this way is destroyed. The magical surface clouds over, and any magical effect it creates is suppressed for the next 24 hours. So it'd be really fun for your players to go out and research what about the Beholder, what kind of magic it has, and if anyone has fought it before, what they've kind of used. They might stumble upon a story of this man who used a mirror and was able to walk away from a Beholder lair, right? And so like, oh, well, we got to get some mirrors. And so they go out and prepare. They buy a whole bunch of mirrors. They give it to each party member. They might come with a bunch of mirrors, or they might just come with one. And if they come with one, then that's one and done, right? They were able to use that one weaknesses, but then no more. But if they each have a bunch, then each of them is able to use this feature. And then the second one, Groveling Blindsight. If a creature grovels, speaking highly of the Beholder's achievements and power, and succeeds in a DC 18 Charisma and Persuasion check, the Beholder has advantage on Wisdom checks to determine if any creature is lying for the next hour. So you have a little social weakness as well, a social manipulation that you can implement as well. Some of you could see the flump here on the side. This has an emotional connection. This is actually one of my favorites. Drawn to strong emotions, psionics, and other creatures in inner nature, flumps are highly reactive to these inner dispositions, and their own behavior often involuntarily reflects that of creatures that are near. If a creature within 60 feet of a flump becomes frightened or charmed, The flump must also make a successful DC 12 saving throw, or to avoid the effect itself. The flumps may repeat the saving throw at the end of its turn, so it's fun domino to kind of play. Now, it's funny because in another video, I briefly talked about defeating flumps, and the comments went off on these flumps. They're like, defend the flumps, you should never fight a flump. Hey, you never know, right? You never know. And in your games, your flumps could have some sort of rabidity, being rabid, and come after your characters that way. You don't know. Emotive psychology, a flump usually changes color to reflect its current emotional state and has difficulty hiding how it's truly feeling. So a flump trying to mask its true feelings from prying conversationalists can make a DC 12 charisma saving throw. And on a failed save, the flump takes a charisma deception check with disadvantage, and creatures who can see the flump learn whether it's afraid, purple, angry, red, happy, yellow, or sad, blue, and about the topics or locations being discussed. So I think that's fantastic. Hey, we got a couple more people in the chat. Patricia, the Human Fighter, Randall Brown, hello, welcome. We're going over monster weaknesses. So these are, again, some things that I was able to help in the writing of, or the most recent book that I was able to help with. And just an extra thing to help boost your combat and make it a little bit more dynamic. I did see that Nerdy Dalek says hags. We want to look at the hags. So let's look at, let's go back up to the top. And we're going to go to H with the hags, correct? Or no. We want to go to Fae. I think they have the Fae here? Blink Dog, Dryad, Green. We have the Green Hag. Here we go. Green Hag and Sea Hag is in here. So let's go to 29. Okay. Green Hag. We have Pain from Joy. So if you have players that are going up against a Green Hag, and you want to give them an extra leg up or something, just to reward them for their investigation. If they really want to go up against this hag and want to be prepared doing so, and you have no really other information to give them, you can give them this. So Pain from Joy. A creature can use their action to make a DC 20 charisma performance check and deliver a powerful reading of a poem. On success, each green hag who can hear the reading within 30 feet of the creature is poisoned for 1 minute. While poisoned in this way, a hag has disadvantage on saving throws or other Constitution saving throws other than Constitution saving throws. Sorry. At the end of her turns, a hag can make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, ending the effect on herself on success. So this plays off of the thing about green hags is that they enjoy pain, they enjoy torture. And obviously the other side of that is joy. It's they receive pain from seeing others enjoy. So I think reading of a powerful poem, or a powerful reading of a poem, is one way you could do that. I could see players doing a number of things to display how happy they are, and the hag would be poisoned because of it, right? But they're able to figure that out through some research. Maybe that they realize that not only do hags enjoy pain, but they are really averse to happiness. And then we have pain from joy. We also have joy from pain. So a hag delights in the misery of others. When she witnesses another creature suffering emotionally or physically, she must make a charisma deception check to avoid making her enjoyment known. A creature whose passive wisdom insight is equal to or greater than the hag's deception check notices this reaction. A creature who notices a reaction to misery automatically succeeds in the intelligence check to discern that the hag is disguised by her illusory appearance ability. That's pretty cool. So I think they have the ability that they can appear like somebody else. And so if that hag is being disguised as somebody else and they see somebody suffering, you have to roll to stop this NPC from revealing herself, which is kind of cool. So this is another thing where the player can figure that out beforehand. So, and then they give, I might as well just read this. Writing a poem. Poem can invoke the green hag's disgust, must have the right length, meter, imagery, and theme of hope and positivity. Again, just flavor text, like help your players know exactly what to do if they need it. Composing an adequate short piece takes 1 hour of work and successful DC 15 intelligence performance check. A hag is only revulsed if she is hearing the given poem for the first time. So extra rules if you need it to figure out exactly how the parameters work with this feature. So, pretty cool. Let's see what else we have. Let's go back to 3. So again, this one right here, I'll scroll out for those just joining. This is the first one, monster weaknesses. We have the monster weaknesses of the multiverse and monster weaknesses Spelljammer. This is the one we're kind of looking at right now. We'll look at a few of them. If you do have any other ones that you want to look at, let me know, and just let me know in the comments or the chat. So we have the beasts, we have aberrations, we have the Fae, fiends, constructs, celestials, dragons. We're definitely going to look at a dragon, elementals, giants, and humanoids. And I think, oh yeah, and then monstrosities, oozes, and plants. So it covers all your bases, at least all the monsters in the monster manual. So let's look at the. I like black dragons a lot. Let's look at black dragons. Okay, the black dragon. Get out of my head is the feature that they get. If the black dragon becomes charmed, it takes a number of d8 psychic damage dice equal to the spell's level. This damage does not end any effects that charm or compel the dragon, such as a suggestion spell. That's dope. That's really cool. So you would try to figure out, either by researching a book or another NPC that gives you this information, that black dragons may not be susceptible to charm, but the charming type of magic can be really effective in a lot of different ways. They also have the fondness for forgotten artifacts. This might be more a social weakness. Creatures have advantage on charisma checks to interact with the dragon if they offer it a magical item or piece of knowledge from a fallen civilization. So, also, if you have characters that have certain backstories that you can tie these things in as well. A character that is from a lost civilization that might have a plethora of information about this thing. They might have heard that this black dragon is going around and stealing artifacts or stealing books about the past, right? Or artifacts from the past, and that might clue them in to what this thing is going for, or what this weakness might be. And for another example, Blue Dragon Lightning Rod. If a creature affected by the Blue Dragon's Lightning Breath has a spell that deals lightning damage, if they have it prepared, the creature can forego making a saving throw and instead can expend a spell slot of 3rd level or higher to make an ability check using their spellcasting modifier. The DC of the ability check is equal to the saving throw DC of the breath weapon. If the creature succeeds, they take no damage, and if they cast a spell that deals lightning damage on their next turn, the spell ignores the Blue Dragon's immunity to the lightning damage. If the creature fails, it takes half damage from the breath weapon. So even if they fail, it's already half damage. So if they fail how I'm reading it, if they fail the original check, they can then do this one, and which gives them another chance to get, half damage or less. But also, they're able to take that lightning and then shoot it back at its owner. The blue dragonborn, or the blue dragon, because they're of lightning, which is kind of really cool. They are lovers of sapphires, which creatures have advantage on charisma checks to interact socially with the dragon if they offer the blue dragon a sapphire worth at least 50 gold pieces. So they might have it on their person, or that might be a whole nother quest to get this item before they can come and talk with the blue dragon. Pretty cool. Ooh, Phil Carney says giants. We can absolutely look at a giant. Let's look at a giant. They're toward the end, I think. No? Yes? Or the more? Oh yeah, undead. They're undead too. Okay, what kind of giant? Bill? What kind of giant are we looking at? We got half ogres, Fomorians, Ettins, Cyclopses, all the types of giants, ogres, and trolls. Let's look at maybe. I like maybe either the frost or the cloud. Let's go frost. Let's go the frost giant. Okay, giant frost. Wavering bravado. If the frost giant does not cause damage with its first melee attack. Oh, and I see hill. Okay, we'll go to hill next. If the frost giant does not cause damage within its first melee attack against a creature on a turn, the giant must succeed on a DC 15 wisdom saving throw or become embarrassed. Aw. A giant embarrassed this way is unable to attack that creature until the start of the giant's next turn, unless no other hostile targets are within range. And then Mighty recognizes might. Creatures who present the giant with a trophy from a slain huge or larger creature have advantage on charisma checks to influence the giant. Pretty cool. Let's see if we can get a hill. Wait, where's the hill? Did I miss it? Oh, it's right below. Okay, giant hill. Great. Beauty's in the nose of the beholder. When sprayed with perfume, the giant must make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the giant becomes poisoned for 1 minute. A poison giant can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turn, and on a successful save, the giant is immune to this effect. Pretty cool. If you have if you have a perfume, and I think perfumes are actually in some kits or some backgrounds. Just get it automatically, I think. So that's another cool tie-in. And then Puzzled Puzzler. When presented with a riddle, a hill giant must succeed on the DC 10 intelligence saving throw or become incapacitated for 1 minute as it puzzles it out. On successful save, the giant is immune to this effect. so you can give it a conundrum and be able to profit that way. Kind of cool. Patricia says, kind of a partial ogre and Oni myself. Awesome. Well, let's end on that. We'll end on the Oni, and you could probably read the ogre, but I don't want to share too much of each one. And we still got 2 other books to kind of look at. So let's look at the Oni. The Nightmare's Nightmare. The Oni has disadvantage on the attack rolls against creatures who are immune to fear. Okay, that's kind of cool. So Oni has disadvantage on creatures against creatures immune to fear. So there might be a way that you can give your players immunity to fear with a potion or a blessing from a god or some other way that they might be able to do this. If they do the due diligence to research this weakness. Can't hide feelings. Oni's desire for magic is so strong that it must succeed on the DC 14 Wisdom saving throw or momentarily revert to its true form if given an uncommon or rarer magic item. That's cool. Can't hide the feeling. So it's interesting. I actually had this in my last campaign. I had an Oni that hid out for quite some time, and it would have been nice if they figured this out, or if they ever gave them a magic item, it reverted. Right? It would have been a pretty cool surprise. So, anyways, that's the first one. Again, this is the Monster Weaknesses #1. If you want any of these books, they're in the description below in the DMsGuild. You can use those links down below. They are affiliate links. So, alright, here's Monsters Weaknesses. We can look at a couple of these as well. They have all of them, all the ones in the Monsters of the Multiverse, right? So, there are, I think, any of them that weren't in the main Monsters of the first monster book in the Monster Manual. So these are the ones that weren't in there. We wanted to look at another hag. Let's see. We have elementals. We have star spawns. We have eladrins. We have dinosaurs. We have Githyanki. I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it. We have more giants. So these are more specific giants, right? So cloud giant, smiling one. Fire giant dreadnought, ogre battering ram. So a couple of those. We have dire troll, rot troll, spirit troll, venom troll. So we got a couple more hags. So let's look at one more hag. Let's look at the Anise hag. Anise hag, 24. We also have a couple more of the dragons: amethyst crystal, deep, emerald guard, jabberwock, kobold, moonstone, sapphire, topaz. Ones that we're more familiar with, that one. And then some clockwork stuff. Anyways, tons of stuff. Tons of stuff. Anise hag, Granny's dearest. Here's a good one. The Anise hag values young prey over all others and is drawn to the youngest hostile creature on the battlefield. If the hag starts its turn within 60 feet of a humanoid creature, it can see who has not yet reached adulthood and has 1 or more hit points. The hag must make a DC 14 Wisdom saving throw. On a failure, the hag has disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than that creature and cannot move to a space that would break line of sight with that creature until the start of its next turn. Now, that is terrifying. That is terrifying. And it's not really a question that you want the DM to ask you in the middle of a fight. You know, if a DM in the middle of his fight says, "Hey, how old are you?" Why? Why do you need to know that? So I think that'd be super fun. Okay, Iron Token Bound says the Anise hag can be bound up to 3 iron tokens at one time. Interesting. If a creature is holding an iron token and whispers into it while the hag is disguised, using a disguise self spell, the hag must succeed on a DC 13 Wisdom save, or the hag's disguise self spell ends. So interesting. So I don't know what iron tokens are, but I assume it's just a random item. It could just be a token that is of iron. And let's see. It's bound up to 3 iron tokens. So this might come into lore that I don't know about. But if somebody has it, someone's holding the iron token, whispers into it while the hag is disguised, the hag must save from it. So you could be in a circle of people or a group of people that, like, let's say there's some hag in the governing body, right? In the council. So someone's a hag. You just got to figure out who. They can find these tokens, which could be a whole nother quest in itself, go to that court, gather everybody together, or with the council, whisper into these, and hopefully the hag reveals themselves. Pretty cool, pretty dope. Pretty dope. Let's see, what other ones do I want to do? I haven't seen a lot of requests, so I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna look at what we have, and we're gonna go for one. Let's do a humanoid. I haven't looked at a humanoid yet. Let's do an evoker wizard. An evoker wizard. Okay, so if you go up against a wizard the evoking school of magic is their speciality. They might have these types of weaknesses. Outdone. If a creature that the evoker can see casts an evocation spell and makes a higher damage roll than the evoker's last use of their sculpted explosion action, the evoker becomes fixated on outshining their opponent. Next time the evoker would roll to recharge its sculpted explosion, it uses its reaction to recharge the ability without requiring a roll. Now this one might be an interesting one to see how the players use it, right? They might understand that this other character is a one-upper. That's their pride is definitely hurt. And they think of everything as a contest. And so it'd be interesting on how they might exploit that. They might set up a trap where either the spell that they use is counterspelled or absorbed or sets off another trap, and they obviously have get the consequences of that. So it's like baiting them in a way. I could see this one being done. Firebrand. Creatures have advantage on charisma persuasion checks to convince the evoker to follow a course of action where a key component is used in their sculpted explosion action. So basically, again with the baiting, you can convince them to put their magic on a particular place on the battlefield, which is an interesting kind of control dynamic. So, Patricius the Human Fighter. In various depictions, Baba Yaga had iron teeth. Yeah, okay, yeah. That might be what the iron token is referring to. It very well could be. I know, yeah, a lot of hags or hag spawn or hex bloods, they do have features like that where they can take tokens and a little bit of their essence is involved. And yeah, you could make teeth. You could have the iron tokens, or you can have teeth or locks of hair or nails, like fingernails. That would be not very fun to go and collect, but, well, I mean, not very fun visually, right? But probably really fun in the game. Okay, what else can we look at? Let's see. And then we can go to the last one, Spelljammer, where I was able to help a little bit. I want to look at another dragon. Let's look at the Deep Dragon. When the Deep Dragon came out, I loved it so much just because it was so different. The Deep Dragon, the visual art of the Deep Dragon was so good, and I loved it so much. And so it was one of my favorite dragons that came out with the expansion of like Fizzbands and stuff like that. And I think that's what this one takes inspiration from, because I don't think it was just multiverse. I think it was they took a lot of other books as well. I'm going to double check that in a second. But anyways, Deep Dragon, here we go. Spore Combatant. Creatures in an area of a strong wind, such as caused by the gust of wind spell, have advantage on saving throws against the dragon's Nightmare Breath, Commanding Spores, and Spore Salvo actions. Pretty great. I'm currently playing in my game a wind cleric, a cleric of the sky and air and wind. And so that would be kind of really cool to figure that out and have a leg up on that interaction with that dragon. Or at least just like a safe, like a fail safe. If a conversation with this deep dragon went awry, it could be our plan B, or really just want to go in and talk about it. But it'd be really nice to know that even if things went bad, I can help save us from this thing, right? And this also helps you, I just had a thought with all of these weaknesses. These also help you with instances where the creature is a little bit higher CR than what they're used to, or their current level is supposed to be at. It might be a very deadly encounter for them. And so if you need some ways to kind of just bump it just a little bit further down, you can use these. If you really wanted to bump it a lot down, you can say that the wind completely just makes these unusable. These features unusable with the for the deep dragon for a really low party. And they just have to do the due diligence to figure it out. Or, again, in the monster weaknesses, and I think in the other ones leading up to it, they will have rules where you can discover the weaknesses there in the moment as well. In the fight, you can see like, oh, well, it tells you that you can experiment with it or that you can just experience it, giving different situation examples. But all in all, you could see that if your player spends time to use an action to perceive something about the opposite creature or to investigate some advantage in the surrounding area, then you can give them this information if they use their action to do that. And that could be something that you tell the characters at the beginning, like in session 0 or whenever you implement these rules. It's like, hey, if you ever want in the middle of a fight want to try to find a weakness in the enemy, you can spend your action to do so. And you can intuit some of these things that happen. So the Deep Dragon Secret Keeper ability says, every dragon keeps a hoard of treasure themselves, but deep dragons have a particular love for secrets. The dragon goes to great lengths to bargain for secrets it doesn't already know. The dragon has disadvantage on wisdom checks during such bargains. So this might help you when you're trying to not fight it and say like, hey, you probably want to go with a secret. Probably want to go with some really juicy something that will get them to talk to you. And then you'll have an advantage on that. So, pretty cool. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Actually, no, I was gonna check on something. You're right. I say you're right, like you told me. No, it's me. I told myself in the moment. So I think, yeah. What are monster weaknesses? Using monster weaknesses, I think they use it here too. They give you the used. Yeah. Yep, social weaknesses, severing weaknesses, they iterate it. But even if you get, you don't have to get the first one, you can just get other ones. You can get this one, or you can get the Spelljammer one separately, because it'll give you kind of the how to use those weaknesses in the moment. You don't need to get the first one. But you should get the first one, because they're, you know, if you get all of them, it covers all the basic monsters, right? Or all the monsters that we got so far. In monster weaknesses, we have a number of different ones as well. I think this one was 20 pages. Yeah, this one was a little bit shorter because it just covered the monsters in the Spelljammer book, right? So, what did I help with? There was one that I really liked. It was the Nethalgu, I think it was. Nethalgu? Neothalgu. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. So the Neothalgu, I don't have a picture of it on hand, but if you look it up, it's a creepy little aberration that it's a brain collector. It collects the brains of corpses and puts it inside of itself, so it has a transparent mucus like back to it that holds everyone's brains inside of it, which is pretty cool. So it has neurotransmitter. When the Neothalgu takes psychic damage, it takes additional point of psychic damage for every brain that it has collected. So every brain in its back, it takes additional psychic damage if it's attacked by a psychic attack. Then it has Mind Spot, where a creature resistant to psychic damage or with an intelligence score of 2 or lower are invisible to the Neothalgu. Its ability ends if they attack or cast a spell. So if you're not smart, then the Neothalgu won't pay you any mind. which is very good. This might be a very interesting dynamic of the what's the spell that turns you really stupid? What is it? Shoot. It's a spell that Keyleth casts on the green dragon in Critical Role. I don't know if that helps some of you. Starts with an F. Feeble Mind. Feeble Mind. There we go. We got there in the end. Feeble Mind. The spell Feeble Mind basically makes you really stupid. Makes it so that you can't cast spells. But if you needed to transport somebody, you can still walk, you can still do things, but it basically turns you, non-intelligent. If you needed to get through a hive of Nithalgus, you could use Feeble Mind on yourself and just walk through. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, what other ones did I become a part of? I think I helped with the Scavers. So we can look at a Scaver here. And I think there was a total of 6 riders? 6 or 7, I think. I could be totally wrong. I remember 6 or 7. But I want to read Reekers, because I freaking love Reekers. Reekers are a race that takes their lineage from cephalopods, like octopuses, but not octopuses, right? Cephalopods, and they can change the pigment in their skin and make rainbow colors, and they have a whole lore about how they see war as art, and they do war just for the sake of an artistic expression, which is really cool. But they have taken Talarith. A Talarith is their sword that they bond with. They bond with a sword that they can then duplicate themselves with. A creature who succeeds on a DC 14 Dexterity Sleight of Hand check, was it the Talarith or was it the token they have? It's either the sword or a token that they have that can duplicate themselves. But the Talarith is a special sword that they have, or trident, might be a trident. Check in action. It's a Sleight of Hand check as an action to combat to steal the Rieger's Talarith. They can steal it off them. While the Talarith is stolen, the Rieger does not deal extra force damage on a hit and cannot use its summon golem actions. They're duplicate. It also cannot command a golem it is already summoned with the summon golem action until it retrieves its Talarith. Really cool. If the check fails by 5 or more, the Rieger may immediately use its reaction to attack the would-be thief. So there's a little bit of a risk, but you can do it. I did not write this one, but I think this one's awesome. Art is an explosion. Many Rieger consider warfare to be the highest form of artistic endeavor. There you go. And violence a beautiful expression. If the Rieger sees or hears about a creature who has dealt damage to their allies with an area of effect spell or similar intentional means within the last 10 days, that creature has advantage on charisma checks made to influence the Rieger. Pretty good. Pretty good. Let's see. Which one did I do? I think I was the Spotlight, or the Void Scaver. I think I did this one. So, yeah, Spotlight. While a creature is affected by the Detect Magic spell, they are able to see the energy building within the eye ray of the Void Scaver. The creature can tell if the Scaver's Ray of Fear is charged and has advantage on saving throws to avoid it. In addition, they can use their reaction to warn a creature targeted by the Ray of Fear in granting them advantage on the saving throw. So, pretty cool. So they can learn that the Void has certain magical ray or magical abilities that they could be able to sense. And so if they go into a fight knowing this information, it could help them out a lot. And something that you could learn easily while in the fight, too. Like, oh, people are randomly getting hit with this eye ray of a thing. If only I could see it. I'm going to use my action to see if I can figure stuff out. And the DM is like, oh, well, you figure that if you kind of maybe detect the magic, you'd be able to see it or see where it's going. Feedback loop. When a creature holding a reflective surface succeeds on a saving throw against the Scaver's Ray of Fear, the creature can immediately use its reaction to redirect the ray and cause the Void Scaver to become the target instead. If the Void Scaver fails, it is frightened of its original target. Pretty cool. So it is scared of you instead of you scared of it, which is a little reverse Uno, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, let's look at the top. We might go do one or two more. We might do one or two more. Either I'm really entertaining, or you guys have nothing to say. Do you guys want to look at it or see any other ones that I've missed? Let's see. We have Artuks, which are like plant-like aliens, astral elves, Elves of the Sky. Aesthetic, which is actually a living ship that in the shape of a... Oh, how did I do that? Shape of a ship. The shape of a ship is a jellyfish. We have Githyankies. We have lunar dragons. Different types of aliens. Plasmoids. We have solar dragons, space clowns, Surins, starlight apparition, and Thrycreens, vampirates, and then the Zodar. And then they included the compendium as well. Let's look at... There was one that I really enjoyed. Oh yeah, lunar dragons. Let's look at lunar dragon. Okay. Lunar dragon. Let's look at... Okay, so ancient lunar dragon. Here we go. Reflected radiance. So this is dragons that live in moons. Like the moon, the lunar dragon reflects the power of the sun back to creatures in range. When an ancient solar or lunar dragon takes 20 or more radiant damage around, every creature within its 60-foot glowing area has advantage on wisdom saving throws and death saving throws, and regains a maximum number of hit points possible from any source of healing until the end of the next dragon's turn. That's insane! That's crazy! So when it takes radiant damage, it reflects back magically and imbues the area with healing magic. That's crazy. So it's a reflective radiance. That's a really fun dynamic. It's like, hey, if you get it to reflect light, then it empowers healing around it. That's so cool. And then Dark Side of the Moon, the ancient lunar dragon is capricious and mercurial, and its mood can be manipulated by a creature who entertains it by allowing it to win a game of Dragon Chess with a successful DC 20 intelligence check, a DC 20 performance check, to perform a play extolling the virtues of lunar dragons or similar check. A creature who succeeds in improving the dragon's mood is rewarded with a single item from the magic item table in Chapter 7 of the Dungeon Master's Guide from the Dragon's Horde. A creature who fails in its check by 5 or more earns the dragon's enmity, and the dragon automatically scores a critical hit on its first attack that the creature... The dragon automatically scores a critical hit on its first attack that hits the creature. Once a creature has gained an item for the Dragon's Horde, they cannot benefit from this weakness again. So it's cool. I think that you really only need like that part. You don't really need the rest of it, but pretty cool. Pretty cool. Clerics did just get a huge buff fighting lunar dragons for sure, and my players are currently in a Spelljammer campaign right now, and we have a cleric. So I'm interested to see if this will ever come about. Because there are many lunar dragons that have taken residence on many different moons. I don't know how many moons we have in our solar system, but I think that we have at least 100 moons, don't we? Like in our own solar system? At least that many. So, I don't know. Christian Roberts says the Brogue, the four-armed giant. Oh, is that back in Monster Weaknesses? I remember seeing it. Giants. No, or was that in the original? Where was the Brogue? Oh, it's gonna take me a minute to find. It might have been in Spelljammer Weaknesses, and I'm just embarrassing myself at this point. Let's look at. Okay, not there. That might be in this one. The Brogue. Oh, now I remember it. Now I remember the. Yep, there it is. The Brogue. Okay, now I remember. It was in there. Okay. The Brogue is I actually forgot what it was. But the Brogue was a four-armed giant. Great. It's a four-armed giant. It has assert dominance. Each time a creature takes damage from the Brogue's hideous rend action, they can make a DC 25 strength athletics or charisma intimidation check. No action required. The DC increases by 5 each consecutive round for the creature. The creature takes this damage and resets if the grapple from Hideous Rend ends. On a success, the Brogue ceases hostilities toward the creature and its allies out of fear and respect. On a failure by 10 or more, the Brogue's grip tightens and the escape DC of the grapple increases by 3. Awesome thing to give again to a lower CR a higher CR to a lower level party. It's kind of a one and done feature that if you're successful, then it It holds off. It hands up, right? It doesn't attack anymore. I see Phil Carney with Braxet. Awesome. I think we'll end on this one. I think that's great. Braxet says, Rigid Hunch. The Braxet has disadvantage on attacks that target creatures who are flying or standing at a higher elevation than it, and it must use all of its movement to stand up from prone. Interesting. So if you knock it prone, it could be a really good thing now, or a better feature to knock it prone. Dominance contest. If a creature knocks the Braxet prone with a successful shove attack, the Braxet is impressed by the creature's prowess. The Braxet becomes non-hostile toward the creature until the creature takes a hostile action towards the Braxet. So, really cool, guys. Really, really cool. So if we actually, I'm going to try to show you guys, I'm going to try to pull up Braxet and the other one. So it gives you what? That's not what I typed in. You guys have a visual on what we're kind of looking at. Okay. Oh. So here's a Braxet. Pretty dope. Pretty dope. He's like a giant Triceratops looking thing. And then, what was the other one? The other one was a Brogue. Oops. There we go. You got to type it in specifically into D&D Beyond, otherwise you're not going to find it. Here's the Brogue. Here's the giant, the forearm giant. Yeah, he's dope. Yeah, he's dope. Heck yeah, guys. Heck yeah. So again, there are 3 books in the series. Monster Weaknesses Spelljammer, Monster Weaknesses of the Multiverse, and Monsters Weaknesses, the first one for every monster in the Monster Manual. Now, here's the thing is, I think that these are the last ones that they're making with the Spelljammer. The person in charge, essentially, he says that he wants to kind of focus on other projects at the moment. And so if you guys really want him to continue to make these, go hit him up, right? I'll put again the link to all of these books in the comments below, or in the description below, so you can go and get them on the DMs Guild, leave comments and suggestions and things, and just, you know, make it popular. Make it popular. And then maybe he'll make some new ones as the new monsters come out for future projects. I know that we have the big ol' giant book coming out next year. They're making a compendium for giants like they did the Fizban's Treasure of Dragons, the compendium for dragons. Bringing a big one for giants. And they're making a Planescape later next year, so a bunch of different animals or creatures from all the other planes of existence, which I hope that they'll put a lot in there and do a little bit better than they did fleshing out helps than they did Spelljammer. But I'm always grateful for new content. So, anyways, thank you guys for allowing me to kind of brag about those things. I was able to help a little bit just on that last book, but overall, just impressed with so many of the different creators on there, so many of their ideas, and each one is just so specific and unique to each creature, which is awesome. So, anyways, go check them out. Thanks again for joining, guys, and I'll see you next week, right? But in the meantime, go out there and spread the good word of D&D and make the world a better place, both on and off the table. See you in the next